right, good morning, 8th graders. This is your last grammar lesson of the week. I know you are jazzed. All right, so yesterday I noticed that there was probably a little bit of confusion about comparative and superlative adjectives and adverbs. And so I think I probably should have spent a little bit more time on that, trying to show you how it was used in sentences. What I might do is go back later and do an alternative assignment and grade it as a replacement for the one that you did yesterday for exercise 7. But for now, we are going to move on. But I did want to take a minute and go over a couple of things. So remember, for comparative, that is when you're comparing two things. So which weighs less or which weighs least, a hippo or an elephant? Okay, you have two things. So in your brain, you might think that both of them sound okay, but the one that you would use is less. Which weighs less? If you had three things, you could use least. You could use the superlative, but you only have two, so you have to use comparative. Look at this one. When comparing three or more things, that's when you use the superlative. Sue is the more or most talented of the three sisters. So you've got three sisters, not two. So here you're going to use superlative. So that's the most talented of the three sisters. Excuse me. Okay, so that's just what you needed to apply to yesterday's assignment. So when we come across this again in the review, you want to make sure that you understand it. So we may do another example of this later. Okay, so today's lesson is about double comparisons. You never want to do double comparisons. This is when you take the ER, right here. Well, no, these are, never mind, those are irregular. But if you took a word like large, larger, largest, and you used larger, and then you also added more, larger. We don't do that. Or if it was largest, and then you added most also, most, largest. We never do that. We never do double comparisons. Most of the time you wouldn't do that because they don't really sound right to the trained ear. I mean, if you speak pretty good English, pretty good grammar, you're probably not going to do this, but we're going to go over it anyway. Maybe this will be a really easy lesson for you. Okay, so which one is right? He ran more faster than me. What's wrong with this? Right. It should not be more. So it would be he ran faster than me. And you've got two people. That's why it's faster and not fastest. Samantha is the most quickest of all the girls. Okay, so what's wrong with that one? Right, you have a double comparison, so you have to take out the most. Samantha is the quickest of all the girls. Do you see you have multiple people here? That's why we used quickest and not quicker. Will is the most strongest player. Well, Will, we know that's not true, but we're just giving you a little plug here. All right, so Will is the strongest player, right? We don't want to put most along with our ending here. And we don't know how many players there are. We assume there are more than three. If there were just two, we would say stronger. But it's Will compared to all these other players. Not a player in that sense, but, a player on a team. Jessie Lynn's hair is more darker than Cadence's. I mean, we can tell that just doesn't sound right. So we're going to say Jessie Lynn's hair is darker than Cadence's. And I think it is Jessie Lynn. So here, you're just going to use darker. We wouldn't say darkest because we have two people being compared, or actually two types of hair. And lastly, which is more larger, New York or California? Well, in land size, of course, it's California. In population, it might still be California. I don't really know. But anyway, we take out the more. Which is larger, New York or California? If you had three states, if you had New York, California, and let's say Texas, you would say which is largest, because that would be superlative for more than three or more things being compared. But here it's just two things, so we would use larger. So I hope that helps. Today you're going to have a very short exercise on Google Classroom. I'm going to get that loaded up very quickly, and hopefully you can apply this to that.